Welcome back to IBEX. And as Ann and Mary mentioned, let's keep our colleagues who've been impacted by the last week's storms in our thoughts and prayers. You know, as always, we have a lot planned for you over the next 3 days and a packed program here this morning, so let's jump right to some thoughts about the state of the industry. I don't need to tell you that it's tough out there. We're facing some arduous headwinds in the market, and we've all felt them. And while there are significant changes happening both in the consumer market and the political environment, there are also great opportunities. And few industries are better placed to take advantage of them than ours, and here's why. As a member-owned, member-driven association, NMMA is built for moments like this, to consistently support you and your business through the ups and the downs of a cyclical industry. The NMMA board has been aligned for a long time on the importance of growing our capabilities in the areas of both advocacy and market expansion, because we know that regardless of who wins elections, we're always going to face unpredictable regulatory and economic headwinds. Changes in public policy or consumer competition, they don't boom and bust, they're ever present. So NMMA has been working hard to put recreational boating and our members in the very best position possible to consistently win. Now, I have a lot to share about our program areas, and I'll get to that in a second, but know this, as an industry and as your trade association, we are ready to meet this moment. Now, let's start off by where the market stands right now, especially in the midst of the current downturn. The Federal Reserve slashed its benchmark interest rate by 0.5 percentage point last month, the first since COVID, signaling a hopeful end to our battle against inflation and an important piece of the puzzle that could help re-energize boat sales. Historically, we've all seen how rate cuts can relieve pressure on business, igniting borrowing that helps spur expansion, innovation, and growth. Yes, the higher cost of credit continues to drive an oversupply in some boat segments, and yes, the higher inventory carrying costs that have reduced open to buy for dealerships remain. But the rate cuts should provide welcome relief soon, and thankfully, the Fed has signaled future cuts could be on the horizon. And while the overall availability of credit remains good, it's really unlikely that our sales will recover until we're past the uncertainty that surrounds this coming election. Lastly, as companies faced higher costs of doing business the last 2 years, consumers also faced higher costs of living, making them much more cautious about discretionary purchases like boats. September, well, that brought a dip in consumer confidence due to the pessimism about the labor market. But on the flip side, wages are finally outpacing prices, and consumers report feeling slightly more optimistic about their purchasing plans for homes and new cars, which is always a welcome sign for boating. Now, as for sales trends, we should expect retail unit sales of new powerboats to be down about 12 to 15% this year. That's due to a complex mix of pandemic and post-pandemic impacts, like the pull forward in boat sales, inflation-driven price hikes, higher inflation rates, as well as the intense return of competition for the consumer's time, mind share, and wallet. But even with our 2024 sales down, we're still at or above the 15-year unit sales trend line. And those already on the water are using their boats and creating continued spending. So what does that tell us? It means a strong desire for boating remains, and that Americans still want to be on the water, and that they're purchasing what they can afford right now to make that happen. In many cases, it's either a personal watercraft or a freshwater fishing boat, and those are two higher volume entry-level products that have remained fairly resilient throughout the downturn. And here's the challenge. How can we stay welcoming to new boat buyers and take the million-plus first-time entry-level boaters who have entered the market over the last few years on a good, better, best journey? How do we convert today's PWC owners or boat renters into tomorrow's consumers of center console and cabin cruisers and sport fishing yachts and more? Now, other industries have done an excellent job of this. I saw it firsthand in the RV industry as RVers entered the market through a rental or a small trailer before moving to a fifth wheel and then on to a motorhome. Nurturing that same journey for new boaters and entry-level boaters so that they can become lifelong boaters is crucial to our long-term success. And when it comes to market potential, we have not even come close to tapping the true upside as an industry. With only a 16% diversity share in a 40% diverse country, we have significant potential to bring more Americans into our industry, more boaters to our shows, and more customers to you. That's why Discover Boating continues to play a very unique and incredibly important role in reaching out to our industry's vast audiences of the future, a role that one company or one brand is challenged to do on its own. To broaden our appeal, like the luxury auto and the four-wheel drive industries have done so successfully, we have to be intentional in how our messengers and, more importantly, our brand messengers are resonating with various groups, both culturally as well as geographically. That means utilizing state-of-the-art consumer research to better understand today's consumer and how they uniquely consume and interact with brands and products and services. We must help these consumer targets authentically see themselves in our products, our lifestyle, and enjoying all that the boating lifestyle has to offer. Which is why Discover Boating is working on your behalf to reach target audiences through multiple marketing platforms, paid media, and partnerships, including social media influencers, content creators, public relations, targeted activations, and of course, the Discover Boating boat shows. With more than 6 million online visits each year to Discover Boating and hundreds of thousands of visits to our boat shows per year, there's a lot of great momentum and a super foundation. We are now heading into this boat show season with a laser focus on helping you move more boats and more product. To further us on that path, NMMA held a special Discover Boating Marketing Leadership Summit yesterday with the industry's top marketing minds in attendance. And this important gathering will help us shape and guide the future of the industry's consumer brand strategy as we proactively engage the next generation, drive sales, and help retain our existing customers. Now let's shift to NMMA's top priority, which is advocacy. And if you haven't noticed, it may be a politically charged year. So it's important to remember that America's boating lifestyle has no political affiliation, which is a strength that we must cherish and protect. The marine industry has a carefully crafted bipartisan reputation of being reasonable and thoughtful and collaborative. And as a true American pastime, our bipartisan centrist reputation ensures that, one, we remain welcoming to 100% of our potential customers. Two, that we remain focused on the issue, not the person or the politics. And three, remain highly effective in Washington, D.C., and across every state capital in the country. And because we're viewed as a trusted entity that stands ready to work with anyone, regardless of their political leanings, we get things done when others can't. And we're well positioned to succeed as the next administration and new Congress start in January. So whichever candidate captures the presidency, whichever party controls the House or the Senate, NMMA is prepared. Now, shortly, one of the nation's foremost political experts, Charlie Cook, will do a deep dive on this election. So let's leave the nuanced political analysis to him, but be rest assured that NMMA had a presence at both party conventions and is in proactive communication right now with both campaigns about our industry's top priorities and how to advance them should that candidate get elected. We've also had notable advocacy successes this year. At the state level, NMMA fended off a wide array of onerous regulations and numerous access threats, including legislation that unfairly targets wake surfing and personal watercraft access. At the federal level, NMMA and our partners maintained a relentless, multi-pronged, year-long campaign to halt NOAA's economically destructive vessel speed rule that would restrict access across virtually the entire Atlantic seaboard. Now, due to these efforts, the rule actually is stalled within the White House for an extended review, but that's only an incremental win, because we expect a revised rule will likely be published shortly after the election. Know that as long as it takes, and for as long as it takes, NMMA and our industry partners will lead an aggressive campaign to preserve ocean access for boaters. And we will hold up marine technology as the very best way to protect our endangered marine wildlife without risking boater access, boater safety, or industry livelihoods. Now, looking ahead, we still have more work to do. Within the states, we must calm the concerns of those who want to ban wake surfing and wake boats and limit access to personal watercraft. Taxes and trade. Those are going to play a huge part of the discussions in Washington, D.C. this year, with Congress deliberating on a whole wide array of reforms as the 2017 tax package is due to sunset. Trade issues such as 232 and 301 tariffs and aluminum anti-dumping investigations remain an area where we as an industry must continue to be very loud, given their uniquely detrimental and inflationary impact to the marine manufacturing. And boating infrastructure also remains a priority as we continue to push Congress to pass legislation that helps Americans access the outdoors, especially our public waterways. And our continued commitment to self-regulation and further reduction of our carbon footprint will remain a focus as the global recreational marine industry works to fend off regulations and create a better boating experience through innovation and sustainable fuels. Now, all this hard work and success is made possible by your membership within NMMA, your strong support of the Boat Pack, your presence at our annual advocacy event in Washington, D.C. in May, known as the American Boating Congress. So we hope to see you in D.C. this May 12th to 14th, when we will be reintroducing ourselves and our issues to a whole new administration in Congress. Our industry has many proud stories to tell. From our $230 billion annual economic impact to the 36,000 businesses in our community, to our more than 800,000 jobs we provide, to our long history of water, fisheries, and ocean conservation, to the tangible wellness benefits that we provide society, to the amazing legacies of fourth-generation boat builders here in the room. Congress, regulators, and the American public need to consistently hear these inspirational stories from NMMA and each of you. And these stories are important. In a world where it's becoming more and more challenging for Americans and our nation to come together, let's remember that recreational boating is a place of respite and fellowship. It's clear in this room, and it's clear why we're recognized in Washington and around the world as a welcoming and collaborative industry. Let's remember that we're in the pursuit of happiness business. We're in the founding documents. So move forward optimistically. Share the joys and well-being and adventure of recreational boating proudly with as many people and many policymakers as we can. It is a winning platform for life, and it is a winning message for us all. Thank you, and I hope you have a successful IBEX 2024. Now, before I hand things over to Charlie Cook, I'd like to recognize a key member of our NMMA leadership team who is retiring at the end of the calendar year. Craig Bosky has served as Chief Financial Officer of NMMA for more than 2 decades. His steady hand and his expertise has guided the association through several up and down cycles over the years, including the Great Recession and the COVID pandemic, the greatest threat to the association we've ever faced. And when he departs in January, Craig will leave NMMA in the hands of a very highly capable team and in the healthiest financial condition NMMA has ever been to serve your businesses. And while he's not someone who seeks being in the spotlight, he has been a critically important and valued leader in the industry and we thank him immensely for his contributions over the years. Craig, where are you? I know you're around here. There you are. You are a trusted voice. You're a treasured colleague. Thank you for your many contributions to recreators. On behalf of a very grateful industry, we really wish you the very best in retirement. Thanks again. Let's give him another